Christ.
All right, so there we go. All right, so in the GCR, you're season 5, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, in the GCR, they'll tell you, like, especially for twos, that you want to cheat up. But personally, this is my personal note. I prefer not to, so I don't mind you going on the back kickoff boost. But you'll hear like Randy and Luke and Curtis talk about how you should cheat up on kickoffs.
Yeah, like I said, missing simple shit.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So honestly, even just in general, I'm just gonna talk just for a second about like
Of course.
defensive positioning here. So can you see my yellow marker on
Yep,
screen?
yep, 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 yep.
Okay, cool. So especially so when you're on defense, think of going like parallel with the goal and literally be on the goal line and rotate this way.
Okay.
Or even if you're in the same position, rotate in the net and kind of have a more like forward approach that way. Um, this will help you in defense sometimes, whereas especially in this case where you're kind of coming in early, you're leaving this little bit of gap here, right, where they can actually still slot the ball in. So especially at a higher rank like GC, say somebody's dribbling like this, he can actually just double jump and pop this over and get the top corner here. And then for you to make a shot or to make a save at this location would be extremely difficult to try to go back up and turn around for this save, right? So it's just much easier if you take your time, literally go on the goal line and come out like this. It's very subtle, but this difference in the height here, especially if it comes out to like right here, then like there's so much distance here where somebody can actually score on you and you don't even know it.
Dude, that honestly, like, that makes so much more fucking sense because I lose like that specific situation.
Right. Okay. So actually
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna talk about another thing too. You'll hear me say this probably a lot, and it's just kind of a heads up. So in this scenario, you got to think of like you're going so fast, right? And you're trying to play fast and trying to play your best, right? But the
Hmm.
problem is nobody's on this ball, and the ball hasn't even gone to a threatening position yet. It's not like they just chipped it over and they're hitting top bar down, right?
Hmm.
This is a non-threatening ball, so you can actually afford to rotate back here. So now imagine if you go on the goal line and you're sitting right here. You wait for the bounce and wait for something to happen. It's not a bad
Okay.
thing for this ball. Like, because then at that point, you can know, okay, does it bounce and hit like the little 45 here and go up, up your wall this way?
Right.
Does it roll around and then, come easy for you to read? Does it roll? Does it bounce and go up? Does it kill around like this? Or does it go hard off the wall, right? You have no idea about any of this yet.
Right.
And because you're taking the initiative and pushing up super early, it's a much harder read for you.
Okay.
Neither of these guys are in a threatening position. So at the very least, I don't expect you to keep track of all this stuff at once, right? But like just recognize, okay, hey, I'm going to actually let the ball come to me for once. And you'll probably hear
Okay.
me say that a lot. And even when people have the ball, like say he's dribbling, sometimes, not specifically in this scenario, but sometimes it's better for them to just dribble the ball to you and like then you make a challenge, right? That kind of thing. You have to kind of have you have to have confidence in your own defense sometimes. So yeah, you can see how you're trying to play fast, but the ball is not going very fast. So you closing in the distance here just that's where, like you said, it's a simple mistake, right? But
Yeah.
could have easily been avoided had you just taken your time a little bit more.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Uh, yeah, working on that.
Okay, so for my kickoff, I actually do have a kickoff tutorial on my YouTube channel, by the way. I don't cover
Okay.
speed flips because I don't think they're as important as, as a lot of people talk about, right? It's the hot new thing, I think, of like people, oh, I want
Right.
a speed flip, right? But it's not entirely necessary. Honestly, I think the main thing is that you want to flip twice. And I always just tell people on these side kickoffs, just pick up the boost. Oops. Pick up the boost. And when your front wheels go over this boost pad, like
Hmm.
drive straight, flip here, and then you're gonna land roughly right here where this circle is on the outside of the ball here. And
Okay.
then what that's gonna do is it's gonna give you enough distance between you and the ball. So see how you're landing because you flip so late. You actually want to be landing right here on this circle because
Okay.
then you're gonna use this distance between the ball to adjust to your teammate and then flip into it again. But because you
Hmm.
waited so long to flip, you're actually landing right here rather than right here.
Okay.
So that difference is actually what makes or breaks a kickoff. There you go. Good positioning there. Grab the mid boost. That's all right. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I also expected your teammate to be the one to just push up on this ball because he went left. I find it kind of strange that he's also going for the boost, but that's all right. All
Yeah,
right. So
he plays a little weird.
in this scenario, since you guys are both pushing up for the boost and now you guys are both doing the same rotation, I would just immediately reset. You go grab this
Okay.
back boost and then go parallel with the goal again and then just reset and then see where the play goes. Let the play develop a
Okay.
little bit. I think you have enough time at this point to do that. Um, especially because now, see, the difference now is that you're grabbing this back boost, but you have no idea what's going on in this play
Right.
because you keep ball cam off, and this ball could be basically bouncing. You know, this could have gone off the sidewall and then going to your net, but you have no idea. So I think grabbing the other back boost might have been better. Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna nitpick about a little bit about mechanics for a
For
second.
sure.
So one of the things that you'll hear me say a lot of the time is the main part of offense and getting a strong hit on the ball is actually hitting the correct part for the height of the ball, right? Whether that's the
Hmm.
underside, the middle, or the top. More often than not, it's going to be the middle or the underside here. And you can see that because you jump, you're actually committing to your line right on the ball way too early
Right.
because you're jumping and then you're not able to kind of correct enough. See how you're jumping here, but you're not even underneath the ball yet.
Hmm.
So by the time you hit it, you're hitting it on the top of the ball and you're just hitting it into the ground.
Right.
So I think you could have afforded to drive underneath the ball more and then get a more of a clear over them. And honestly, that could be a shot on net. This should be a shot on net, and even from me, this would probably be a goal, if I'm being honest.
Right.
But that's just the difference between that high level offense and what
Um.
you see here. Yeah, at any
So
point, by the way, if any questions, feel free to interrupt me or
yeah,
ask questions.
I think my biggest issue is, especially when it comes to like the ball and all that shit, if it's when you say under the ball,
Hmm.
like how close am I supposed to be? Because I get to a
Sure.
point where like if I'm too close, or like, if I'm under it or whatever, it really starts to like mess with like
Yep.
my basic ass ability to aerial.
Sure. Yep. Okay, so when I say under the ball, I can see what you mean. So in this scenario, I also wanted to point out actually before I answer that question here, look at your rotation here. I think it would
Yeah.
have been better. See how now you go forwards, you stop, then you back up. I think what you did was fine, but I think a better solution would be to just keep going, rotate like this. That way you keep your momentum, then you can go forwards and then hit the ball right here or whatever out forward.
Okay, so
I
like a
think
more fluid pathing.
yeah, I think so. When you do this kind of like Y turn, it's like
Yeah.
it's a little awkward in my opinion.
Okay.
But in this scenario, let me see if I can actually you think after all the coaching sessions I do, I can get my camera stuff down, but apparently not. Okay, so in this scenario, when I say underneath the ball, I literally mean like drive forwards first, then jump here when you're underneath the ball to go, and you're doing this perfectly actually. See how you're jumping and you're tilting your car upwards, so you're going to hit this with the front of your
Yeah.
car. The difference is that if you wait a little bit longer, you could hit the underside of the ball and it launches it out this way. So I
Okay.
don't oftentimes when I see people underneath the ball, like in my other coaching
Hmm.
sessions with other players, like say this ball bounces right off the wall and then the ball is up here.
Right.
What I see people will do is they'll take the initiative to drive underneath the ball. Then the problem is their camera looks like this and it's super awkward, right? It's looking up this way towards the
Yeah.
ceiling. That's what you don't want. So when I say be underneath the
Okay.
ball, don't be like this where you're just sitting underneath it. I mean
Like a
I mean
like a
go underneath.
45.
Yeah, I mean no, I mean go underneath the ball,
Okay.
then hit it forwards that way.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't mean sit underneath it like right here cuz then you're just looking at the
Okay.
ceiling, right? So that's the
Yeah.
difference.
Okay. All right.
Does that make
So
sense?
like try to be at like a 45-ish degree angle from like your initiation, if you will.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like putting numbers on it, and the reason I'll. How about this? After this replay, I'll show you exactly what I mean as far as the shooting and
Okay.
stuff goes. We'll talk about
All
matching
right.
the height of the ball after this. It's super.
Okay.
I think it could break it
Yeah.
down super simple.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I'm trying to like get it in
Yeah.
my head.
Don't worry about it too much. I
Okay.
guarantee you. Just let me go through the replay, and then after in free play, we'll probably apply it a lot better
Perfect.
than just talking about it. Okay, so again, I think there's a similar situation where okay, you make a play on the net, right? And you're pushing out from mid and you go. At this point, just keep going, grab their boost and rotate out. Because you kind of stay in the play here, now you're kind of blocking this area, and now your teammate wants to push up and go. But you guys both turn around, and then you guys are both sitting here. You know, you kind of do one of these, and then your teammate pushes up. Now you guys are both stacked right on top of each other in the one area. So all they need to do is just get a clear over you guys, and you guys are both screwed. So I think you're lingering way too long here. Just keep going out, rotate out, and then you have to trust in your teammate to be able to make a play. And then even if he doesn't, then you're back, right? Then you can be his backup. You can be a better teammate there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you can see that here because now he has to jump over you to make a play. You're in a perfect spot. Just keep going this way. There you go. Ooh, decent shot. Ooh, okay. This is perfect. It was a mistake, but I'm glad this came up this early, actually. So, I'm going to talk about the defensive
Do this a
positioning.
lot, so that's perfect.
I'm going to talk about the defensive positioning. And actually, you know what? Before I talk about this play specifically, I want to talk about the hypothetical for a second. So, imagine... let me actually go right here. So imagine the play, like the guy with the ball is pushing up on this side of the field, right? You have to imagine that there's a line between the ball and the goal at any given point, and that if you're shadowing, right, say you're dropping back towards the net, you know, on the same side, then the idea is that at any point you can turn around and challenge, right? You could do it here, you could do it earlier, right? Or you could go in for a goal line save this way, right? But the idea is that you're on this right side of the field and you only cross it to go left when you need to, either when you're attacking or when you're forcing a play or going for the ball or going for the save, right? The exception is that when, say, the play is developing farther back and you're shadowing, then you want to fake challenge, cross the line, then go back this way again for a save. The idea is that in both scenarios, when you go parallel with the goal, the whole net is actually in front of you in both of these scenarios, right? It's so much easier to go because then the whole net is in front of you. Just jump, keep going forwards, right? When you, in the same scenario, it's much harder if you are dropping back and you shadow and you go parallel with it, right? Because then your camera is looking backwards, right? And your controls, your left and right, are inverted. So if they shoot it left and right, then you have to go, oh shit, is it actually left? You know, I have to drive left or right. Then you have to worry about jumping up and tilting back to either get a pop over your net or off to the side, right? So all that is just so much more complicated than if you just wait and you go parallel with the goal like this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that actually, like that, no, that makes so much more sense because I get in that situation a lot where like the ball, you know, I'm trying to shadow, but I'm on a parallel path with them,
right?
Rather than,
Yep. And that's exactly what
I'm
happens here. I'm sure you
perpendicular
can
to
see
the
it.
goal.
Yep. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happens here. He's driving down center, and then you actually kind of come in like this, however it was, and then you go parallel with it, and it's so much harder to make a save that way.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're going to identify, now that we identified that, we can see that play out here. So you were wide, but now as you go for a challenge, and again, I think turning up here is a bad idea in the first place, but
yeah.
Then, you know, once you go back, now notice again, you're in that parallel position.
Yep.
So it's just much harder. Whereas had you just waited, and it's similar to like, remember when the first like 10 seconds, when you missed that first shot in the corner, it's the same thing. Sometimes you just have to let them hit the ball to you, right? So if instead, if you were in the middle field and then just drop back, then you could drop back this way and then go sideways and just catch it and then go around, you know, back to your back corner and then keep going. That would be so much easier than just pushing up. You're preemptively going. Your car language is indicating to me that you're expecting the ball to just stay center or them to just hit it to you. But that's not the case. You're putting yourself out of position by trying to progress the play too quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, there's the same exact scenario as in the corner where again, the faster you go forwards, the faster you close this distance in, right? So it's a much
Right.
harder read than if you just waited. And even if you just jump and just go straight up to the ball, like try to just go straight up in the air, that would be much easier than you going forward. See how you're still aiming forwards here?
Yeah.
So yeah, closing the distance is, I think a bad habit of just trying to always have forward progression, right? Because you don't always need to go forwards with the ball. Sometimes to make a save, you literally have to just go straight up to the top, right?
Yeah.
So all right, that's all I will say about that.
No, I appreciate it. I honestly, like, I've started doing some of the things that you were talking about where, especially since I've started doing ones, like I'm taking the game and the progression of the plays a lot slower because I'm by myself.
Right.
And I've started to try and do that in twos a little bit more as well.
Decent. Okay, so this is actually way better than I expected. So I often like to break down scenarios of like percentages, right? I'm often like
Hmm.
stats and stuff like that. So in
Yeah.
this scenario, like since the ball is literally like there's only like this much distance between you, like the ball and the side of the wall, right? So or the
Hmm.
backboard. So the chances of you getting anything here, especially because now that we know your teammate is literally all the way across the field off screen, like the chance of
Hmm.
you doing anything here is very slim. So if anything, I would say maybe keep going, fake challenge, and then force him to hit it out to the corner, and then just
Okay.
keep driving back and then shadow because you want them to commit. This is the safest
Right.
spot for them to have the ball because you're not scoring this. You want to force the play, bring it out. He might just bang this off to the corner, and then you might be able to get back and then just steal it, right, and then rotate out this way again. So
Right.
you really want to force the ball out of here as best as you can. And I think committing here at this is not the best move. But honestly,
Right.
you did really well with what you had by not flipping into it, and you just pinched it off the wall. You not flipping here was the best thing you could have done because it made a really good pinch happen.
Yeah, those don't happen a lot, but I'm trying to get better at wall pinches as well.
Ooh, nice try. Okay. Yeah, so honestly, this is just a shooting thing. I think you had enough. This would be a goal if you just front flipped here, I think. But
Hmm.
because you didn't, you just chipped it up too high.
Okay.
There you go. Honestly, since you're in the air, you're in the air for so long here, like literally just turn your car and try to boost to the ground or to the wall. Get all four wheels, right? Facing like
Yeah.
this, my little octane drawing here, right? You get the idea. You get the idea.
Right.
Because then you're not wasting as much boost. You can use 15-20 boost to get to the wall and then push it out forward. Because like you'll often see then you can basically treat this as a pass to yourself and then just get a boom and clear out this way.
Okay.
I'm not saying that would be the best play here, but I'm just saying like as far as recovery practice goes, it's an option because now you still haven't learned it until just now. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Ooh, okay. I like your turn here. So you realize, okay, and again, here's where being awkward is being underneath the ball, right?
Yeah.
You recognize, okay, if you have to turn up the wall here, you actually have to turn left. There you go. And you got your nose up there, but you didn't like full commit. I think if you jump and you just keep going now and jump up to it and you try to meet the ball before it falls, I think you have a much better high rate of success. I think you just maybe thought about it and hesitated a little too much.
I'm not
You
great
kind of
on the
knew.
walls, especially with jumps. I'm
Yeah.
not very good at them, so I'm not.
Close. Honestly, you're in a really good spot. And again, look at this. Statistically, like if this ball comes out this way and, at a higher level, you could basically just meet the timing of the ball and then just shoot it in or get a boom and clear over them either way.
Right.
So that's, again, we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
I did the same thing I did on the first play.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
jumped too soon.
There you go. And you convert. Nice. Ooh, actually, I kind of like that. It's much better. You remember how I said when you drive, you want to be driving towards the boost and then do like a left flip or diagonal flip, and that will
Yeah.
actually offset you're aiming to the right. So I think you did really good here. Except I think you maybe boosted through it a little too much. because now you
Okay.
can see you didn't quite land on all 4 wheels, but look at you're much closer to this outside circle here, the inside circle. You were so
Mm-hmm.
close. So this is actually much better already than the kickoff before. So yeah, you were pretty close on that. And you even got another challenge on it. So pretty decent there, at least compared to before. Ooh, okay, very nitpicky again, but you recognize the space here.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to go in the goal line, because now, again, if somehow, say they go up the wall and then your teammate goes for it and they pinch it, you know, I mean, there's so much distance here. They could basically easily just score this on you, especially at a higher rank. This guy could take this up the wall and air dribble it and just go straight into your net. So there's so
Also,
much
please
distance
be
here.
as nitpicky as you fucking can, please. Everything helps. At this point, dude, everything helps. You honestly have been fantastic.
Appreciate it. And then again, I think more of the same, right? So at this point, Fidget is going up the wall. He's hit it. And Pro Tools is about to hit the ball. And you're committing as people are about to hit the ball, right? Pro Tools should have hit the ball, but now as Fidget comes in, you're basically now committing as the play is going out. So like you're already you're committing to something that was like half a play, or like half a second happening already. Like you're too late. Either in this scenario, you recognize he's not getting this and you go, or you just wait to see what happens. Because again, this is not in a threatening position yet. It's actually pretty safe. Remember, I talked about like this angle here. It's the same scenario as before on their side. Like you want the ball to be sitting here. They're not going to score this, so you just should be patient. And that's where this defensive positioning comes in. Where then if they hit it out, then yeah, you just turn and go for it. Because yeah, that easily could have been your ball. Ooh, okay. Dang, I actually like this challenge, even though you missed. I think that's really almost as good as you could have done. Obviously, hindsight is 20/20. I think you probably should have just front flipped into this, but I wanted to focus on the height here. I like how you jump. See how you jump and tilt your car back just a little bit? You actually get the height here. It's just that he hit it around you. So I'm going to give you brownie points on that. I think you did that challenge much better than what you've been doing so far. There you go. And then to be honest with you, this is just a scenario where I think if you were able to get the U-turn on it and front flip, if you hit this straight in the middle of the ball, I mean, this could be a goal, basically. I think at the point when he's challenging you, you just kind of have to flip into this and see. Yeah, because again, even that, it was on target. It just wasn't powerful enough. Oh, man. What a flick by that guy. Oh, man. Oh, man. That guy was popping off. Woo. Okay. Respect to those guys. That was a really well-placed demo. Or bump, I mean. Oh, man. Dang, that actually looked pretty sick in the beginning.
Yeah, it started out strong, did not finish.
One thing I wanted to point out is, yeah, this actually looks really good. This looks pretty clean. Maybe we might, I don't know how to say this, but like, yeah, your landing is off to the side here. There's part of like the amount of hours that you put in that eventually you will recognize, hey, I'm actually going to be aiming to the right here. So at this point, you should just be holding left on your stick. And like trying to correct.
To drift into it. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, that makes way more sense.
I like you being patient here. Nice. There you go. I like the hit. Respect the attempt, and your teammate cleaned up well. Nice. Honestly, so far, I think a lot of this is pretty on par with what I was expecting as far as decision-making and stuff goes. I think the rest of this, I mean, it's just execution, right? You know, just putting in the hours.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. Woo. Do you have any questions about anything that I said so far now that we're like almost done with this? Okay.
No, not honestly. No, you have made
Nice.
a lot of sense. Also, I went out of my way to make sure I picked a super like I picked one that I knew was going to be bad because
Right.
it was before we had the 1v1 masterclass and all that stuff, and he talked about like everything. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Before Randy went over stuff.
Yep. Okay, so I actually wanted to point out, I actually had somebody screenshot this when I drew this earlier, but I'll try to do it as best I can. So in general, so like when the ball is being pushed, up on the left side, I'm just again kind of talking hypotheticals here, but it also applies to this play specifically.
Yeah.
Then say your teammate is pushing up as number one, right, and he's pushing up on the side. You typically want to be pushing up with him on the same side of the field, anywhere from like right here, right? You don't want to
Uh
be
huh.
pushing up too far. I'd say, yeah, maybe like even right here within this circle here, actually. Um,
Okay.
because just based off of statistics, again, so if your teammate is pushing up towards the play, what are the options that can happen, right? Okay. The option number one is that other than the option that he scores, option is that, okay, he gets a bouncer and he gets a pass out center, right? That's option one. The second option is that he gets 50-50 and it just kind of, either rolls up, or actually, I'll just say option number two is that he gets dunked and it gets put back on the same side.
Right.
Option three is that it actually gets, cleared over the net, right? Um, and then option four is that it just kind of just kills out. I'm just gonna say kills out center, like stays stagnant in the corner. Is option four.
Right.
Um, if you position on this side of the field here with your teammate,
Mm-hmm.
then you are statistically more likely to be involved in the play. Whereas I see a lot of people in plats, especially in twos, people will position like right here, right? Where they're
Right.
expecting either option number one or option three. And especially as you get far more to the right side, as like across the field, then you're really only
Mm-hmm.
positioning for one of these outcomes. That's option three. So
Right.
right here, obviously you're covering all three of these options being in this spot here. So I actually really like your positioning here so far. That's something that you've actually been doing pretty well. You've been positioning behind your teammate because then you're also being ready for a pass if something happens, or if he gets beat, you're kind of behind him and ready to make a move on it.
Right.
So I will say that that's one thing that you've been doing decently well on this game so
Okay.
far. So try not to, keep doing that. Try not to veer too far, like across the play, like over here, because then you're really only positioning for option number three.
Right.
But yeah, I literally had a guy who was like, "Oh, I'm taking a screenshot of that." I'm like, okay, thanks. Does that make sense though, as far as like the
Yeah.
like
No.
Luke
No. No.
calls
No.
that
No.
like
No. Yeah.
Luke calls that like option coverage in the GCR.
Yeah. No. That makes way more sense.
And that's honestly probably one of the biggest things that I learned in this is that, I was always playing, I was a threes main. And especially like with my teammates, I was always pretty confident in making passing plays, right? I want to be a team player, want to make the plays, get
Right.
clips, right? That kind of thing. But in twos, especially, man, you got to play it as a 1v1. You got to not be
Yeah.
greedy and just let your teammate make a play and try to get those out plays, right? And, passing plays in twos are really risky. So that's probably
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that I learned in the program.
And then
Ooh,
they're like
the
those
bump. Yeah.
those little. All right, I got a question for you actually.
Yeah, go for it.
In this instance,
Hmm.
I don't know what to do,
Sure. All right.
and
So,
I just black out. I'm like,
all right. In this instance, is there anything that sticks out of your mind right now as we're in this position here, or
Well,
do
first
you want me
off,
to just say?
well, I'm out of goal, and I should be a little bit either inside the goal more
Hmm.
or more parallel with back post.
Yep, I agree. Actually, that would be the number one thing. I'd be positioned here, because then that way your teammate is actually covering like the first 20, 10, 20% ish, right? It just from him jumping straight up and trying to cover the near post. Then your job is to cover like the rest of this as much as you can.
Right.
So I think, yeah, you being positioned here and aiming kind of parallel with the goal, kind of out, then you're fine. Then yeah. So
Okay.
honestly, I think if you think about this from this play forward, from this point forward, I'm just gonna go in static camera because I think honestly that position probably just saves you right here.
Yep.
Because then all you got to do is just drive forwards.
Yeah. And
So
yeah.
that's why
Okay.
I said oftentimes it's not that you have, I don't know if I said this earlier to you or if I always say this to people, but you don't necessarily always have as bad decision making as you think. It's your position that allows you to make bad decisions. If you were just
Right.
positioned here, you wouldn't make the bad decision. You just drive forward and hit it out.
Right.
and that bump wouldn't have happened, and they wouldn't have scored. So you didn't have bad decision making. You were just kind of like, oh shit, trying your best, but your
Yeah.
position just, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot with that positioning, right? At some point, it's
Right.
like, hey, you can really only do so much with the cards you're dealt, right? That you gave yourself, actually. So yeah, that's about it. I think that literally that number one thing right there is just if you position better. Oh, almost got the rebound.
I
That was
tried.
nuts, bro. That was nuts. Does that make sense though? Because that's literally like the
Yeah.
one difference that would have made or break that play there.
And I feel like that makes all right. So
It's not
like
as complicated as it seems, isn't it? Like
yeah,
just
yeah,
that small like one car length difference makes all the
it's
difference in the
shitty
world.
position is making my normal, skilled plays just super shitty
Yeah,
because I'm not where I
you're not helping
ideally
yourself.
should be to make it easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
not helping yourself out. Again, just one thing real quick before I go through this. Obviously, nothing else happens in the replay, but just notice again here, you're jumping, and it's the same thing over and over. You hit the middle of the ball. You're just jumping too early. You're committing to the play before it even happened, like before the ball even got to you. Like
Okay.
nobody's going on this ball, so you jumping here, now you're committed. Like, okay, either you
Right.
whiff this, either you have like the big ass balls to not hit this and be like, hopefully that your teammate can pick you up, or you do what you just did and hit it back to them, and then they ping pong it anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a bit awkward. Yeah, bad positioning again there. Honestly, I think, yeah, just rotate back. It's happened a couple times. I'll say that's happened. I'd say that's the second time where you've had just awful rotation.
Mhm.
But actually, coincidentally, notice from this position, the whole net is in front of you. So as you need to, you're still driving forward and you're still facing the play. So that was actually a pretty good challenge. Oh my god. No way. Actually, just real quick, I'm just going to mention just from his perspective, I don't mind you cutting your teammate off. Sometimes you got to just be like, all right, I'm taking the fucking ball. Like,
I think I was talking to him like, "Hey, I'm taking this one."
yeah. As long as you do it assertively, it's not a problem, right? As long as you communicate it, there's no problem. He knows that you're going now, right? He knows he has to wait, so there's no issue. Again, there's a thing of, like, the ball hasn't bounced yet. It's not, like, in the net, so he's just being preemptive, like, and they should have scored. Holy cow, they literally had the whole field.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was also had the same problem of, like, progressing too far forward.
Committing too early. Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, nice bumps.
Yeah, I was really trying to help at this point. I was like, God damn it.
Again, just jumping too early. Check this out. You want to know what you should have done?
Yeah, please.
Just get the bounce, let the bounce dribble, go for the bounce shot, like a power shot, half volley, whatever you call it.
As soon
let
as
the
it
ball
bounces,
let the
hit
ball
it.
bounce, and then front flip. Yeah,
Yep. Okay.
even so much better there. It's
Yeah,
a slight difference, right? Just the timing of just everything. It's that slight difference makes or breaks the play there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's free.
I have
no.
also. Yeah, and then he throws and we lose 4-3.
Okay, another thing real quick I just want to mention, you have no boost. Your boost grabbing was terrible during this too.
Yeah.
At some point you have to say fuck the play, I'm getting boost. You have to do that sometimes. You just have to pick up pads, right? At some point you have to just be like, all right, I'm not in any position. I don't have any boost. Oh shit, I just realized I can hack my own fucking thing here. At some point, I just used my controller and accidentally pushed a button to switch players. I might do that in the future. Okay, so yeah, at some point you just pick up pads, right? Then just, path your way through the play, etc. Like, yeah, at some point you can pick up any of these pads here, right? Pick up this one, this one, this one, do one of these and then rotate into the play as it goes forwards, right? Or, fuck, I'd even say just pick up the back boost and then just see what's going on, right? Obviously, you guys have 20 seconds, so maybe not do that. But, like, pick up these three, pick up these ones, then you can take this one, whatever you want. That'd be decent. But, yeah, your pathing here for the last, 5 seconds was just not good at all. You missed that one. You picked up one. You still haven't picked up any. You missed. Ooh, you got that one. Picked up 2 pads. Missed that pad. Missed that one. You got the mid boost finally. I just think
Yeah.
you're in a you just missed all of it. Oof. There you go. Decent dribble. Missed that corner boost. I think the main thing of
Yeah.
that was like, yeah, you just didn't have any boost. At some point, you're trying to stay in the play too much. I'd say just fuck the play, reset, then just make a good read, and just all you need is one good touch and just bang it to net, right? It's like, I think it was probably, I'm not saying that, no, obviously I'm saying like it might not always be that easy, but I think you were maybe trying too hard to stay in the play and you weren't ever able to just get in a good spot. You know, you were really
Right.
close to your teammate for the last like sequence there. So yeah, at some point you just got to say, fuck the play, I'm getting boost, and just reset, even when there's 20
Yeah.
seconds left. All right. Any questions about the replay?
No, not at all.
Okay. Now here's the fun part. What can you do better? Okay, so you know about Bacchus mod, right? Yeah, I'm hoping
Yep.
you have Bacchus
Yep,
mod.
yeah.
Yeah. So you know that if you press up on the stick, it'll spawn it on top of your car. But the one that most
Yeah.
people don't know or that use is down. If you press down on your stick, it will actually just pop it up in the air to you. And what I do, you know, there's the GCR training regimen, but this is actually what I do for my pre-training. This is like my warm-up before the warm-up every day. I go into free play for 5 minutes just to warm up my fingers, and I do this. Now, the main objective here is, again, notice that I press down, and then my main thing is to meet the height of the ball. So, like what you were doing earlier is you're kind of hitting it like this, and you hit it into the ground. That's not a very effective shot, especially at higher ranks. So what you want to do is go underneath the ball. You can see how sometimes if a ball is low, I have to wait until I get underneath the ball. So that's what I meant about waiting underneath the ball, where I have to go up underneath it, then shoot very quickly, right? So that's where jumping and tilting back comes in. So does that make sense about the clarity about waiting underneath it? Because that is a much better shot than basically anything that you guys had that game.
Throwing it in the third.
Yeah. So that's what I mean about going underneath the ball. It's matching that height of the ball at the right time.
Okay.
The other thing is at a higher level, you'll see me, you know, hitting like air roll shots, you know, something like that, right? Where you're able to use the corner of your car effectively and corner flip. Like, dude, you get so much more power from something like that.
I was actually going to ask, like, what you were doing with that, because I've seen a lot of people do that, right? Like, left and...
Yep.
You know, like, the people that make content.
Yeah, all it is just using the corner of your car, and then I actually use that as, like, an aim. So I'm using the front left tire. I'm air rolling a little bit to get, like, you know, get underneath the ball, then just corner flip left. Or actually, I'm technically doing like a speed flip, if you want to call it that. Like, I'm using my corner flip, then I cancel it, so that way my nose of my car is not turning over this way, you know, with the front flip, right? I'm not front flipping into it, because then that way, if I boost through it, see how I like kind of boost backwards for a second? So that's what actually makes a speed flip. It's because I can boost through it, and I can still go forwards the whole time. So there's a lot to it, but hopefully that all makes sense.
No, yeah,
and like that's the type
way
of
more
shot I'd take in a non-house game for sure. Honestly, as far as jumping up and let me see if there's actually there is a training pack that I think it's, let me see. Uncomfortable saves is the one I'm thinking of. So that's where like this parallel, you know, these saves come into play, where when you're parallel, you just have to jump up and tilt back, right? So that's where jumping up and matching the height of the ball really comes into play. So that's where it's super awkward. You really have to just time it such that when you jump and tilt back, I'm hitting it over the top.
Okay.
Something like that. Ideally, in like a GC lobby, I would air roll and hit it to my corner, because that's the safest place for the ball to be. So again, this is where like going wide sometimes might be easier. So if I stay parallel with it, it's like super awkward. But that's what like a good save would be. And then again, notice my recovery there. I'm landing on my wheels, turning around. So there's a lot to it, but notice I'm landing with my wheels facing down. Oops, if I can even hit that. But you get the idea. That I'm able to stay with the play. But generally, the idea that I want you to focus on is jumping and tilting back. So it applies to more than just shooting, but also like saving the ball as well.
Right.
So I'll give you the code. I'll give you actually have a link to all my training packs in the in like a Google sheet that I give to people, so I can give you that too.
Perfect.
But yeah, I think honestly the biggest thing as far as like shooting and stuff goes can really just be drilled out with just pressing down on your stick. You know, then even if you practice something like that, like dude, that looks way more deadly, and that was just a front flip, right? It's all about just timing. I didn't do anything fancy. I just drove at it, hit it in the right spot, front flipped, and boom, 64 miles an hour. Didn't even touch the ground. So I think just getting really comfortable with shooting and hitting the top of the net, something like that, that's one good starting point for you.
Okay.
I want to practice more of those offensive stuff. Okay, I'm going to talk about the dribbling and stuff because I'm going to kind of build up. I'm going to talk a lot for a second about the dribbling. I'm going to kind of build up from like nothing, like from the ground up here. So if you think about it, like dribbling and making plays happens, you know, like there's usually a starting point to it, and that's usually just picking the ball up on the ground and getting it on top of your car, right? And being able to make a play, you know, beating another guy, beating the goalie, right? But all of this happens because you're able to keep control the whole time. Oftentimes what I see is people think they need to front foot flick and flick it in the net. Well, guess what? That's where the ping pong comes into play, where I'm getting rid of the ball and then I'm just immediately handing it to them. That way, if they make a save, now they have the ball, they ping it off the side, then I have to go for it again, right? And there's that whole back and forth, right? But that doesn't need to be that way. If you have the ball on the ground, again, that's where picking up the ball comes really important, and I'm going to build on top of this. But basically, you know, getting it on the side of the ball or getting ahead of the ball and rolling on it or rolling into it. So if the ball is going this slow, you literally have to go this slow and just turning into it, right?
Yeah.
One of the exercises that I recommend people do is practice this without boost, by the way. Practice going in circles and doing figure eights. So if you can pick up the ball off the ground, just keep turning like this. And, you know, even if you don't get it on top of your car like this, that's fine. That just means you have to turn a little more. Maybe go a little slower. But you know you're in a good spot and you have really good control, because now this is really efficient, especially if you can do it without boost. Because then I wait for somebody to challenge me. Okay, I side foot flick it. I still have control. I'm still in a threatening position. Then I can still dribble it, right? That's where I beat the defender. So that's where like the difference is in that high level offense. But it really starts from just being able to pick the ball up off the ground and being able to turn with it, right? Being really efficient like this. And then I'm going to build on top of that, like I just said, with the side foot flicks, of being able to just turn into it, then side foot flick. Again, notice I can do this all without boost. And I can be very much more deadly. So even if somebody challenges me, I can still get a ball around them, and then I can still keep possession. So say somebody's challenging here, I can get a ball around him, then I can still follow it up. But that literally all comes from being able to manipulate the ball, being able to get it from the ground on top of your car, and then choosing the right flick, right? You can add a little power slide. Obviously, I'm doing it a little bit more advanced now, but, you know, it all starts from somewhere, right?
Right.